You're listening to the Rapid Electric Tailgate Party. Welcome to the Linda Hamill Insurance Coaches Corner. Now let's join Monty Walker with Howe Bulldogs head coach Lance Bryan.
Coach, Commerce was the most physical and probably the biggest team you faced so far this season. Turnovers led to a deficit early. You couldn't dig out of that hole.
You know, we didn't get off to the start we wanted. You know, they got that quick score on their first drive, and you know, we put the ball on the ground a couple times, and you know, that start was definitely not something, you know, that was kind of a nightmare beginning first of the game, the first 3 minutes or so. You know, but the biggest thing that we preach to the kids a lot is play hard no matter what. You know, you can't get back in the game, you know, all in one play. Like, you just have to fight one play at a time. And you know, even though some things didn't go our way, I thought our kids kept fighting, you know, every play, trying to, you know, scratch and claw and get back into it. And I thought they did a good job doing that.
And the offense kept giving the defense, or kept putting the defense back out on the field, and I thought they responded pretty well, especially Bryce Crosby had a great game.
You know, we talk a lot, you know, defensive mindset. It doesn't matter where the defense takes the field. Their job is to get the offensive ball back as fast as they can. And so it doesn't matter if it's a turnover or offense just scored. It makes no difference. And so that's the mentality that we take on defense. You know, Bryce, we really challenged Bryce this week a lot. You know, he played a really good game week 1, and he played well week 2, but we thought he could play better. And so we challenged him a lot, you know, cleaning up some fundamentals and some things like that. And he's a great athlete. And so if he gets going in the right direction, he's going to make a lot of plays. And so he showed that Friday night. He had, you know, a monster game. I think he had double-digit tackles and a few sacks and quite a few big plays. They weren't just tackles. They were big tackles for loss. And so, you know, he's a great player, and he's capable of doing that pretty often.
So I don't want to jinx anything, but your sophomore kicker is perfect so far this year. And that was a recruiting the hallways situation by you. That just an outstanding job.
Well, when I first got here, I saw, you know, I knew that the kicker had graduated, and you know, there wasn't really a true kicker on the roster. There were some kids that could kick the ball, but I think there's a huge benefit to having a soccer style kicker. It just opens a lot more doors to things you can do. And when I first came, I went into all the PE classes to see if there was some football kids that needed to be in football that were in there, and I saw this guy just wheeling and dealing on playing soccer and just mopping the floor with all the kids in there, and so I went and got a ball out of the PE bin and just put it down. I said, hey, just try to kick it as high as you can, try to hit that spot right there on the wall, and kicked it. And then we had a long conversation about, you know, trying out kicking and things like that. And he was open-minded, and he joined athletics and got in the weight room, started getting around the guys, and you know, the kids really, they kind of gravitated towards him and kind of all took him under his wing. And you know, whenever we started camp, you know, we had a conversation. He was like, I just want to be a kicker, and I was like, that's totally fine with me. Like, that's all you got to do. And you know, he does a great job. You know, kickers during practice, there's not a whole lot for them to do during a lot of the practice, but he sets up his tee, and Trey Alsobrook, our manager, kind of helps him out, and he'll kick 100 kicks in practice. And so whether it's kickoffs or, you know, or through the uprights, he does it all. And so he's pretty dedicated to getting good at this. And you know, I think the results are showing.
And now you got a kicker for 3 years.
That definitely helps. When he told me he was a sophomore, it definitely made me even more interested in him. But you know, even if he were a senior, you know, the way he's kicked so far, he's kicking like he's a senior, and we have a lot of confidence in him. And you know, the kids believe in him, and I think his confidence is growing, you know, bigger and bigger by the day. That's a high pressure, you know, situation as a kicker. I think if you watch NFL and college, you see a lot of games are won and lost by a kick late in a game, or a missed extra point. Like, makes a difference in a lot of games. And you know, we're definitely blessed to have him back there doing that job for us.
Well, speaking of points, offensively, you know, you turn the ball over 5 times. Never heard of a team turning the ball over 5 times and still scoring 42 points. You're scoring 37 per game. It's early, but no Howe team has ever scored 37 a game.
You know, we knew going in that our offense was going to be explosive, and you know, they threw the ball really well last year, and they gained a lot of yards last year, and they did a lot of good things. They didn't punch it in as much as they would like. And you know, Coach Cater and I talked a lot about that. You know, once you get inside the red zone, you know, those passing lanes, they get a lot slimmer. You know, it's hard to find those lanes. And so we really concentrated on, you know, improving our running game. And we put a lot of emphasis on that. I think that gives us a better balance. We've actually ran for a little bit more yards than we've thrown for at this point in the season. And you know, we like to think that we're a balanced attack. But balance doesn't necessarily mean that we do one run for every one pass. It just means that we're going to take what the defense gives us and we think that we can do both. And we try to not let people know exactly what we're going to do week by week.
We're going to take a quick timeout. We'll be back in 30 seconds.
Hi, this is Matt Linder with Linda Hamill Insurance. Your home field is where everything happens. And I'm not talking about Bulldog Stadium. We're talking about your home, your car, and your life. For over 30 years, we've been offering bundled discounts on home, auto, and life. We offer Germania and Progressive insurance protection, as well as many others to suit your needs. Call us today at 903-965-4098 or come by and see us at 106 North Broadway in Bells, Texas. That's 903-965-4098.
Okay, Coach, this is the week that head coaches typically despise. Not only is it homecoming week, but Howe has their sesquicentennial, so there's parades, there's dances, there's all the homecoming festivities. How do you keep your kids focused for the game?
All of those festivities, even though they can be a distraction, those are the things that make high school football exactly what it is all the pageantry and all the extra. And so, I embrace that. I think that stuff's fun. I was at the parade yesterday, and I actually bounced between 3 different spots so I could kind of keep an eye on my kids and make sure they were, throwing the candy underhand and not overhand at the kids and stuff. But, we talked a lot about, on our meeting on Monday, we talked a lot, all that stuff is all fun, but ultimately the only thing that matters is that we're supposed to go out and win the game. And so we talked a lot about, a lot of people's jobs are to do a lot of the festivities and stuff like that, but the football team's job is to play football. And so all the other stuff is secondary to that for them. And so we've just preached that over and over again all week.
Well, your opponent is Tioga. They're really strong up front. Their offensive line, big and powerful. I think they're kind of built around their offensive line. Talk about them and what you expect to see.
They were a playoff team last year, and they brought a lot of pieces back, so I knew they were going to be a tough test. And their offensive line is definitely very, very big and physical, and they like to run the ball between the tackles, and they get vertical now. They're not going to juke and do a lot of that. They're going to run right at you and force you to take good angles and run your feet on contact. And we've obviously emphasized tackling a lot this week because they've got some physical backs that are pretty fast, but really their biggest thing is they're trying to run right at you and get behind those offensive linemen and do some damage. And so definitely stopping their rushing attack is going to be a big key for us.
Matt Stepp, the godfather of Texas high school football, is going to be in town. From Dave Campbell's, he'll be on the sidelines. Garrett Faison will be shooting video for this game also. This game's getting a lot of attention, and I think your team's starting to get a lot of attention too.
You start winning some games, and you score a lot of points, and you have some good performances, and people tend to take notice. And I think that's kind of what's happening. And Matt Stepp's obviously a big deal in the Texas high school sports media. And so whenever I found out he was coming to the game, that was obviously a really cool thing for to get our team out there and get our guys a little bit of extra publicity. But again, we got to win the game because all that publicity is not going to be any good if we go out and lay an egg. But it is really cool that they're going to be there and shine a spotlight on this matchup, and because I think it is a good matchup. I think it's 2 up and coming teams. Tioga got it rolling last year. We're trying to get it rolling this year, and so I think both of our towns and both of our teams have a lot to be proud of in the football program, and I'm happy that we get to show that to the state.
Today's Coach's Corner has been brought to you by Linda Hamill Insurance. You're listening to the Rapid Electric Tailgate Party.